Welcome to Puzzled and Chatty with me, Adam Gray, where I talk with people in the jigsaw and speed puzzling world and hear their stories and thoughts on this growing competitive activity and the puzzle community. In this episode, I sit down with one of Canada's best speed puzzlers in virtual and pairs events, Liam Kearns. We discuss their love of all things puzzles, including escape rooms, their success in the speed puzzling world, their unique and very specific puzzle collection, how puzzling can be beneficial and helpful outside of speed events, and more. So pull up a chair and pick a puzzle off the shelf to do while you listen to two people who are puzzled and chatty. Hi Liam, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here. Another person from British Columbia, which is nice to have the West Coast represented on here, and still the morning for you as well, I think. Yep.
Barely, but yes.
So yeah, it's nice for you to join me in the morning on a weekend, which is great. We'll just go straight into it,
Sure.
and really the most basic and easiest question I ask everybody is just how did you get into puzzling? Not necessarily speed puzzling, but just into puzzling in general.
Um, I started puzzling at a very young age. The earliest memory I have is puzzling with my nana, my mom's mom, and we did this puzzle, and she told me that you weren't allowed to look at the box after you had started the puzzle. And so that's how I did puzzles for a very long time. I was like, okay, you look at the box and then you put it aside and you can't look at it. And so I've puzzled most of my life like that. And it's only been since speed puzzling that I've kind of started to look back at the box because it's helpful. Yeah. So that's kind of how I got into puzzling.
That's interesting. It's you don't hear a lot of the nanas or the grandmas or such involved as with all the people I've spoken with. It's usually the grandfathers and the papas
Mm.
and them, but it's nice to see the nanas showing up with it as well. The restriction of not looking at the box, I guess there's a nice challenge to it, but it's interesting to see each family has their own little
And
quirks when
I
they have.
think I think maybe it was just my interpretation of that moment was like, okay, no box allowed. But
She's been wondering this whole time, why are we not
20
looking at the
years go
box? It makes no
by.
sense. Um, so would that be your biggest family influence?
I think so. I think so. Like my dad definitely enjoys puzzles, but um he did do some growing up, but I think Nana, she's just like a very inspiring person. And so like she's the kind of person you wouldn't want to meet in a dark alley because she would mess you up. Like yeah, yeah. She's been through some stuff, so
But still can calm herself down enough to do a
oh
puzzle,
yeah. Oh yeah. She's
which is
just very fierce.
do you do like a lot of puzzles in a week, would you say?
It depends on the week. With my job, it can be challenging to get a lot of puzzles in. I usually will have a puzzle out at the very least. Definitely do more on the weekend or when I'm not at work. But yeah, it really depends. It really depends.
That's good. When did you move into speed puzzling then?
Ooh, well, I did two online competitions, like the very first one with the Canadian Jigsaw Puzzle Association, and then one, I don't even know, like maybe a year and a half later, or even
Okay.
half. I'm not quite sure. I'm sure you have the dates. I don't have the dates. And then after that, I was on tour with a theater show, and so I couldn't really speed puzzle on the road. And then I was got into it with Tess. We had met at a puzzle swap, and
Okay.
we'd both kind of mentioned speed puzzling to each other. And then the following year, we connected and we became a pair.
Yeah, and we'll definitely talk about tests
Yeah,
in a little bit because that's important for the both of us. That is
yeah,
important.
true.
And so would you say like you do jigsaw puzzles, obviously. your job's quite creative, and I want to talk about that a bit later on as well.
Yeah.
But when would you do other do you do other types of puzzles? Are you interested in more like we do jigsaw puzzles, but a lot of
Mhm.
us I think have like another aspect to the puzzling world. Do you have that?
Definitely. I tell people I like puzzles, period. Any type of puzzle, be it a crossword, be it an escape room, be it anything. Give me a puzzle. I want to solve it. Like I'm a problem solver. So a puzzle is just a problem that needs solving.
Do you do a lot of like escape room type things?
Yep, I'm well over 100 at this point. I because I have toured a lot, I've traveled a lot with work, it kind of opens up to lots of new escape rooms. And the folks I've toured with, I've been like, "Hey guys, there's this really cool thing. It's called an escape room. Have you ever done it?" And so I bring them into the fold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find escape room people tend to do that. It's if they're very much into it, they want everyone else to be into it.
Not a pyramid scheme, I swear.
Is there like a favorite one that you've had or a favorite city that keeps
Oh,
doing good things?
I think Orlando. There was a one out there called I think it was just called Crazy Train. And the entire room was kind of de or like the entire experience was kind of decked out like an old school cartoon, like think Steamboat Willie,
Yeah.
like Mickey Mouse, like that kind of animation. So everything like was painted black and white and in kind of a cartoony style. But then the whole thing was on a train. And so there were windows on this train. And in the windows were screens that were emulating what was outside the train. So there was animation outside. And as you progress through the room, more of the train becomes available. And so more animation becomes available. But along your journey, there's a like a villain who's trying to stop the train. And so all of that storytelling is being told through the screens. Um, and you're trying to combat the villain at every step. And it was just a such a unique and memorable room that I won't stop talking about it ever. Yeah.
That's, I wish we had more, at least where I am in Ontario, we had more
Yeah.
those types of styles. I find
Yeah.
like I've done escape rooms. I enjoy them. I don't tend to do them too often because I do get frustrated with other people
Mm.
that might not be able to put things together in
Yeah.
not even quickly, but just like there's logic that goes with it, and they're just kind
Yeah.
of like running around. It can frustrate me.
Yeah.
I think my worst experience with an escape room was the very last thing that we had to do was it had like a cylinder container, and the final key to get out was at the bottom of the cylinder, and there
Mhm.
was little holes
Okay.
all the way
Yeah.
through, and they gave you like three chopstick type things, and you had to
Yeah.
work together to move it up
Yeah.
around. And like I play musical instruments, I do puzzling and stuff, so I'm quite good with two hands. So I took two, and somebody else took the third. And as
Yeah.
they're moving it up, I was like slowly, I'm looking at the clock go, and we have a minute left to get out of this thing. I just want to get, I don't care how fast it is, I just want to get out.
Yeah.
And we're so close to the top, and you have to get to a certain level before you can actually grab the key.
Of
If not,
course.
if you're going to knock it down. And I was like, wait, wait. And the person with about like an inch and a bit to go figured, you know what, I can just get it from here. I was like, no. And they grabbed it and it went down to the bottom. I don't think I've ever been as angry during a puzzle scenario as at that moment. Um, and since I couldn't do a
An
puzzle room
escape
with
room.
them,
Yeah.
escape room with them after that, I was like, no, we're done with that. But it's a bit too competitive, even in like calm setting, no, too competitive.
Yeah.
But that's have you ever not finished escape room?
I say in the earlier days of my escaping, more recently I've kind of formed a couple escaping teams, and we've actually done like escape like road trips where all we're doing is escaping. If we happen to have time, we'll do other things, but the focus is escaping.
Is, is part of it escaping the trip itself at the
No,
end,
no,
or
no, no, no. We would want to stay on the trip, but like I think on the last one we did 13 rooms in 2 days. And most of them were on the first day. Like I think we did 9 or 10 on the first day.
I'm
Um,
assuming you're going through them quite quickly then. If so,
well,
how do you?
I'm pretty good at like stacking them and being like, okay, it makes sense to do one here and then drive 20 minutes to this place and like that's my brain. I can do that very well. So
I think
um
I'd just be so tired by the end. By the end of that.
we were
Um,
delirious. Um
yeah.
and it was funny because the first escape room of the first day and the last escape room of the first day were at the same location. And so the folks that work there had been there all day and they were like, yeah, you guys are a different team. And we're like,
I would think
we are.
so. That's yeah. No. Uh, each individual person, I
Mhm.
guess. So we'll go back into the actual jigsaw
Of
puzzling stuff
course.
now. Uh, you enter Western Regionals, which I'm assuming that is your first in-person competition.
Sure is.
Um, and yes, and that's only just over a year ago now. It feels like longer, but
Right?
it's really not. Um, what was it like heading into your first in-person competition?
I had no idea what to expect. I'd seen videos online of different puzzle competitions, but I had no idea what to expect, no real expectations. Of course, it was in Edmonton, so I flew in the day before, and I actually ended up getting to the hall an hour early because I misread the time. And so I got to meet Amanda and Fawn and uh, um, what's his face was not there. Um, uh, what's his name?
Russell?
Russell.
Russ?
Thank you. I was like, it's an R.
Yeah.
Yeah, Russell wasn't there, but it was such a yeah. I just didn't know what to expect. I was like, here we go.
Was there like a nervousness to it, or were you feeling
Um,
whatever happens kind of happens?
there was a little bit of nervousness, but like I knew as soon as I got there, that would dissipate quite quickly. I get more nervous leading up to an event than the actual thing itself. Once I'm in it, totally fine.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think I'm the same way. It's especially like the night before. It's like that
yeah,
butterfly thing in your stomach, and then
yeah,
like the drive or flight or whatever to the actual location. That whole time, it's I'm trying to do anything I can to take my mind off of it. But yeah,
yeah.
there's that nervousness. But yeah, as soon as I sit down in the chair, and as once the time starts,
Hmm.
that's gone. I completely switch to the competitive aspect, and that nervousness goes away. It's just pure adrenaline until it's over. You do pretty well. You do finish fifth
Yeah,
at your first regionals, which
mhm,
is a good position. Top five is always going to be
yeah.
um, great. Was that better than you expected, or kind of what you
It
expected?
was better than I expected. I was like, I had zero expectations. I was like, if I can finish the puzzle, great. Yeah, I heard afterwards that I was kind of doing quite well to like at the start of that. I got off to a good start, but then the tail end of that puzzle just it was trees. Trees are my demise, it seems. Just
Yeah,
couldn't get the trees to cooperate.
yeah. That was the Cobble Hill
Yeah, Copple
one,
Hill,
or
it was the national parks.
the national parks. Yeah, I really liked the image, and I did try that
Hmm.
puzzle, but I forgot Cobble Hill is has large
Random.
puzzles, and
Hmm.
that throws me off.
Oh, okay.
It's just I like having as much space as possible. So like Ravensburger allows you that space,
Yeah,
but Cobble Hill and that one especially was huge. Plus random cut, no,
yeah.
I would have done poorly
And
in
there's a lot of colors going on as well.
yeah.
And like lots of different fonts. Like it's quite a busy puzzle. Um, yeah. So I was like, how do I even sort this?
Yeah, yeah, text. That's how I approached it. Text first, and then I'll build around that, I
Yeah.
guess. But yeah, I looked at my time compared to what the Western regionals were, and it would not have been not have been great. Did you prepare in any way for it, especially with it being a cobble hill?
I had practiced, so my very first online one was also Cobble Hill, the like Parisian street scene. And
Okay.
so I practiced that one because I think I had that one and maybe like two others. So I practiced those ones. And then on Friday when I arrived, I met up with one of my teammates for the Teams event and we practiced pairs. I think we did two puzzles and we practiced two that I had not done. And that was my first time practicing a pairs competition with anyone ever. And I was like, and we checked our times and we're like, that seems pretty good. We don't really know.
And well, the two of you won the
No,
pairs
that
event.
it was I didn't practice with Charlie.
Oh,
Or
okay.
sorry, I didn't practice with Monica. I practiced with Charlie, who was on my team's team.
Right.
Yeah, was not my pairs partner.
Monica was your partner.
Monica was my pairs partner, who I didn't
There.
meet until like 20 minutes before the puzzling started.
And I do have a, you did win, right?
We did win, yeah.
Okay. So, which is, that's, like, I don't know how to describe that. We just, you meet, it's
I was
essentially meeting somebody
dumbfounded.
off the street and you're just
Exactly.
doing, and you win the whole
Yeah.
pairs event. Did you, did either of you think that was going to be kind of a goal or at least
No, no,
close?
not
No.
at all. We were both dumbfounded. We were like, sorry, did we just do that? Did that just happen? And of course,
That's,
it was the first puzzle of the day. And we're just like, okay. And I don't think Monica had had coffee yet. And like
yeah.
things were working against us, but somehow.
That's well, it's a great result. It's and
Yeah.
especially for your first pairs competition, just to
Yeah.
win it out of the gate. And then your team finished in fifth, another top five finish, which is also good. Did you just randomly meet them as you walked into the building as well, or
Not quite. So I connected with, formed a team through the CGPA Facebook group. And yeah, I practiced with one of them the day before, and then the other two joined us the next day. One of them was not really a speed puzzler and was our like sorter, our sorter. Um, but I don't know if you know this, but like the third, fourth, and fifth were all a second apart in their finishing times.
very
So the
good?
third team finished 1 second later, the fourth team, then another second we finished. And all three of our tables were in a row as well. And I was like, okay, I guess we come in fifth.
At least you came in fifth.
Yeah.
Um, you've been on the opposite end of a 1 second difference as well, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's obviously great for your first kind of in-person experience. We'll go back to the virtual stuff because
Mhm.
you did mention that you started off with a few virtual competitions. You had like a
Yeah.
seventh place and a ninth place is what I have written down here,
Yeah. That
which
sounds
which
right.
is also good. That's kind of where I tend to land in a lot of the virtual competitions. They're not really my strength. I like
Mm.
the people. I like the adrenaline of people around me and that atmosphere. I find
Yeah.
it tough on my own, but then you kind of go on a bit of a streak with the virtual competition. So I'm just going to read the orders I have here. There's a fifth place. Okay. Then first, second, first. A lot of firsts.
Yeah.
By my calculations, between you and I think Katie is up there at this point,
Mhm.
and Devin is up there at this point. But it's that you're definitely within the top three, if not top two or one, of
Yeah.
most successful virtual finishers in Canada. What what do you do to prepare yourself to do it that well? Because like we
What's
don't
the
know what the
secret
puzzles
sauce?
are. Yeah, because I have one next Saturday, and I would like
As do
some.
I.
Oh, so okay, well I'll see you there. So, what do you do to kind of prepare for that?
So one of the things that I really kind of put thought into was, okay, what elements are within my control that might not be in my control in an in-person competition. And so like I can control the height of the table. I can control the size of the table as well. I just use the table I have. I didn't go out and get a special table, but it does have adjustable legs, so I just make it taller so I'm standing and not kind of sitting standing, and that I'm less hunched over the table. I don't really use any additional lighting. I just use what's overhead, but it's pretty good lighting. Um, and just the fact that there aren't people around is helpful for my brain. It doesn't feel like I know there's people on Zoom, but like it doesn't feel like I'm being watched in the same way that I would be in an in-person. So I like honestly, table height is the biggest factor for me, and the quiet. Yeah.
That's I never actually considered changing table heights. So like I have the puzzle table that I use now is pretty much exactly the same as what you get at the competitions, those
Mhm.
foldable the tables, and mostly because I use it to practice for the in-person events and for worlds coming up. So I'm used. So when I sit down at those competitions, I'm not suddenly having to figure out different measurements.
Mhm.
Well, even for the virtual competitions, I'll still stick within that little section. The
Yeah.
past couple I've gone a little bit bigger because it's been larger. It's usually larger pieces, so
Mm.
I'll use a bit more space. But yeah, I don't change the height. I don't. That's interesting. With the Zoom stuff as well, it's I kind of do. I do one or two Zoom calls a week with other puzzlers as we're
Mhm.
getting ready for Worlds, and we all finish at different times. And yeah, people can be watching on there, and you can start to see people as they finish their screens disappearing.
Sure.
So like I'll glance up, and the order will be different on the screen. Going, oh, I know someone's finished because they've left.
Yeah.
So I've figured out that you can on Zoom you can pin certain
Yeah.
um, videos on there. So I'll pin myself. So
Mm-hmm.
all I can see is me when I look up at the screen. And
Sure.
that's
Yeah.
made a huge difference than watching people uh, drop off the call. So that's helped me a bit.
Yeah,
Um,
one of the things that I kept hearing in some of your videos was that you tend to look at least glance around during the competition at
yeah,
other
in
people, and I do not. I can't. If I do that, I will not be looking at my pieces ever again.
in person, I do it because I can get information
Mm,
from others. I can see their approaches and such. When
sure.
it's Zoom, there's so many little screens.
Yeah.
I guess I could pick if I know that there's going to be someone super fast on it. Like say Tess is on one of
Sure.
these calls who's
Yeah.
going to be doing very fast and we're doing the same puzzle. I could potentially pin
Mm-hmm.
her screen and compare kind of what they're doing compared to what I could. I'm
Yeah.
not going to, but that's one approach. But yeah, in person, I use it to gain information. And at nationals this year, um, that's how I got through in eighth in the individual qualifier. It's
Mm,
because I looked at the person beside me and they
right.
took a whole different approach because I was getting stuck. And I was like, that's so much better. I'm going to switch to what are doing,
Mm,
and yeah, flew through it. But if it was virtual, I would have been 5-10 minutes slower than what I had done. So that
hey,
that's the only reason
yeah.
that I really enjoy it. Um, yeah, so you obviously do very well with it. You you do very well on virtual. You've won Western regionals pairs at this point. Um, you win Western regionals, and very shortly after, you move on to a new partner, which is Tess. Um, no more Monica, just the
Well, see,
same
Monica lives
thing.
in Alberta,
Fair
and
enough.
I live in
So
BC.
So you do meet up with Tess,
Yeah.
and as you said, it's been a year since you've actually first met. What kind of who instigated the reunion? I guess.
Well, her retelling of this story is very funny because I I did not know. But after Westerns, I reached out to her and I was like, "Hey, I was at the puzzle swap. I don't know if you want to like team up to be pairs for some of these virtuals that are coming up. And she's like, "Congrats on your pairs placement at Westerns." I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that news traveled so quickly." Well, thank you so much. And then she was like, "Yeah, I was there." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't see you." And then she was like, "Yeah, I won the individuals." And I was like, "Wait, that was you?" And um, yeah, so yeah. So that's kind of how we reconnected. I'm not great with faces a lot of the time, so I'm gonna say that's why I didn't recognize her. Um, yeah, so that's kind of how we reconnected.
To be fair, she didn't recognize you either, so
Oh, there we go.
it's the same on either side. When I first met Tess in person, I didn't recognize her at all either.
Yeah.
We had never met or spoken before then, but in person, but still, I blanked.
Yeah.
It was, which was super awkward. Um, yeah, that's covered in the episode when I speak with her. So yeah, that was an awkward moment. But over the next few months, you and Tess partner up for the virtual events. You go 3 for 3, win all three of them,
Yeah.
easy. Uh, how is it just that you're very good puzzling with pairs in general? Because you've won 4 out of 4 events technically now, if you include Western regionals. Or is there just a really good chemistry between you and those two partners or Tess in particular?
I think both are true in this case. When I'm on a pairs or on a team, I feel like I'm other people are relying on me. And so it feels like I have to kick it into high gear more than if it's just by myself. And by the same token, I can be like, okay, guys, I'm struggling with this. And then I can switch to something else and someone else can take a stab at it with fresh eyes. Um, and I don't know, I'm a there's a lot of communication, as you know, with teams and pairs, and we just are really good at communicating what's happening and whether something's working or not working. I'm really good at edges, and she's really good at skies. So that if those like edges will always be there, of course, but if there's a sky, Tess is on it. Um, yeah, it's that's how it goes.
So you're not going to Worlds this year,
I'm not going.
which benefits me because Tess is going to be my partner for Worlds. If you weren't going, then this would be a very different conversation. Uh,
Say what?
Tess Tess is a faster puzzler than I am. She beat me in nationals in all 3 of the events by one spot in the individuals, which I did like because I was very nervous of going in. Oh, she's won Western.
Hmm.
What if she wins the national event and I'm super far back and we're partnered with Worlds?
Yeah.
Would you have any advice kind of for me on how to make sure that she's going to do well with it? Because I'm kind of there as a supporting act in that partnership. I'll pull my weight, but
Yeah, of
is there
course.
something that I can make sure that I do that will benefit Tess in the pairs competition?
I think just continue to like just be very communicative with what's working and what's not working. Have lots of check-ins throughout. Um, I think that's the biggest thing. Or like, yeah, this I don't have no idea where this goes. Or, being um I don't know. We both kind of tend to speak our mind as we're like sorting pieces to be like, okay, maybe this blue section is a thing that we can like kind of can be our first project. Or like, yeah, just keep that communication going because strategies change quite quickly or can change quite quickly. Yeah, that's the biggest piece I'd give.
That's good. And I've been practicing a lot of edges because I'm essentially taking your place and having to do. I'm not usually the edge person, but
Mm.
um, I am for this partnership. I'm now doing edges for my team at Worlds
You're gonna
as
do great.
well. I'm doing Edge for the Team Canada competition that when we
Yep.
compete against the other nations. I'm doing Edges. Don't know where all the edges came from, but that's been a lot of practice all of a sudden. Um, but yeah, so you are a great partnership. You've also pair up for nationals as well. Um, this is your first nationals. What kind of made you fly across country to participate?
To Georgetown. We Tess and I we talked about it as soon as it was announced, and we are like, yeah, we're gonna go. And it like we collectively were like, we're going. And it made sense with my work schedule, and I was like, let's go. And then we formed a team. Um, and yeah, so that's kind of it just made sense for us to go to try to defend our pairs wins on a national scale.
Yeah, because you haven't lost yet. So that's yeah, going in 4 for 4.
Yeah.
But Nationals is a different beast
Yeah.
altogether. There is a jump from the Eastern Regionals just happened last weekend, and there is a significant difference between like the number of people and kind of all the stuff that goes into it. It's not a one and done situation either. You have the qualification rounds, so there's a lot to kind of to take into consideration. Um, how are you feeling across the three different events going into it, like in terms of confidence or whatever?
I feel most confident in pairs going into it.
That makes
'Cause
sense. Yeah.
I'm like, we've practiced lots. Um, Ravensburg is not my like favorite brand to speed puzzle, which is not great for me because it is the brand that has risen to the top. But so Tess and I did lots of practice of Ravensburger, both like we each do one individually and then swap and do the other one and compare times. She beat me like every time. And I was like, well, I think we're going to do great as a pair. And everything else, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it makes sense. The pairs would be the most confident. Yeah, you haven't lost. You've done well together. 2025 Nationals was a bit different that we were told all the artists in advance. And before we kind of go into all the different puzzles that we had, couple questions. First of all, I want to make it clear that all the artists are very good at what they do.
Yes.
But this is a puzzle competition,
Yes.
and not everything always translates from image to puzzle in a speed puzzle scenario. Everything can be a puzzle, that's fine, but in terms of speed puzzling, some things work better than others. Were there were there any artists that you were potentially nervous about or were hoping to get?
Katarina is definitely the artist that is everyone's talking about that I was nervous to get. Patrick Boyer was also on my radar of like, okay, we'll see what happens because they're like with Katarina, she has a lot of her art available, like her portfolio's quite available online. And so I was like, I got a pretty good sense. With Patrick, there's not a lot of there's a quite a large portfolio, but it's the options that might show up or something similar to what might show up are limited because a lot of them are either show posters or advertisements. And I was like, this is these two are the most unpredictable in my mind, and are going to be the hardest puzzle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so I've heard through the grapevines
Oh
that
yeah. What did you
you
hear?
do you do a fair bit of puzzle research before you go into competitions in general
Yeah.
for puzzles, and nationals was no different. We'll come back to nationals in a second. Do you try to do research for like even the virtual ones and try to
Yeah.
kind of figure out what the images might be or even what the puzzle might be?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of using all the resources that are available to you. Because at least for the online competitions and nationals, they are sponsored by Puzzles Canada. We know all of those puzzlers are coming from Puzzles Canada. So at least for the virtual ones, I was like, okay, we might I think for this past year we did know the brands. And so I was like, of the Eurographics that are available on Puzzle Canada, which do I think might show up? And which ones do I not think will show up? Because some of them are very busy, and I was like, they better not put us through that puzzle. Um, and usually I can narrow it down to like somewhere between 6 and 12. And then I can kind of be like, okay, if I get this image, how will I approach it? And so that way, when I open up the puzzle, it's not like a complete surprise as to how I will go about it. With nationals, it was a little harder because, of course, they're new puzzles. And so I just did a lot of research on the artists themselves, and kind of created like different folders of their art to just kind of go through and be like, okay, if I got this one, how would I approach it? And ultimately that did help. As the competition went on, artists were eliminated from the puzzles to come, and so I was like, okay, we're down to four artists or however many, and so I could like forget the ones that had already gone. Yeah.
I like the phrase eliminated, like it's a Hunger Games of puzzle
Yes.
situation.
Yeah. You
Um,
have been voted off the island.
the yes, so we did know for virtual stuff what the puzzles were in advance, but it changed when it was the month that these showed up. If the New
Oh,
York
yes.
Puzzle Company was the first month that we didn't know. Now the puzzles are always the same throughout the month, or at least they were. I don't know if that's still the same. I don't think it is. Looking at the puzzles, the competition puzzles I have all wrapped up beside me, which I'll talk about in a second. But how were you able to kind of do anything? Because you won both of these,
Yeah,
one
we won both
individual
of
and
those.
one with Tess.
Yeah.
Uh, those were not my, again, large pieces with weird shapes, not my thing. Same with the Cats of the World. You won
Yeah.
that one as well. Because we don't know in
Yeah.
advance for some of them. Uh, it's a virtual competition that was last month that was the first time that I won a competition. So I was happy with that. But the puzzles came wrapped really tightly, and I could
Mm.
tell that it was a Gallison because they have a very specific box feel.
Yeah.
It's like a little present, so it has
Oh
an
yeah, and
edge.
it's got the
Yeah.
yeah.
And then I put it on top of one of my other Gallison puzzles that I have, and I was like, everything's lining up. It's the same height. It
Yeah.
probably is, so I can practice some. I practiced a few Gallison attempts, and that kind of helped me get into it. Are you able to kind of Ebu as well? When that came
Yeah.
through, I was able to tell that's an Ebu box straight
Yeah.
away.
It's pretty
Um,
iconic, that one.
and I kind of did the same thing with the New York Puzzle Company. I had one random one in my collection, and
Yeah.
that matched up in size. So I was like, okay, I can kind of get ready. Are you able to? So we have one next weekend. Do
Yeah.
you have a? You don't need to say anything. You can if you
Yeah.
want to. Well, help me out. Do you have an idea on what brand on what brand it might be?
I have a guess, but um I have a guess. It would be surprising if my guess is correct, but I have a guess.
Yeah, it's because I have like 200 plus puzzles in my collection,
Yeah.
and I have lined it up against all of them
Yeah.
with a whole bunch of different brands, and nothing has matched this
It's a
box.
very
Uh,
unique
it's
sizing.
yeah, so I think it's a brand I've never tried before, which
Mhm.
makes me nervous, especially with Worlds. I leave almost right after that for Worlds,
Right.
so I signed up for it by accident. I thought it was a different month. I
Mm.
don't. I got the box of puzzles and it was the first one on top, September 6th. Like, oh, okay, I guess I'm doing that. So, anyways, back to nationals. We'll look at the individual rounds first because that's how we start the day.
Yeah.
Um, uh, we're in the same qualification
Yeah.
group. We were assigned seats as well.
Hmm.
And the lower number table that you have, one, two, three, four, five, whatever,
Yeah.
the lower the number, it's kind of what the CJPA kind of thinks you're going to do. You're going to do
Mhm.
well if you're at a lower number. You haven't been to nationals before. You finished fifth at Western, which is good, but a bit unknown. But
Yeah.
your online reputation is very good.
Yeah.
So you're placed at I think table three, I believe,
Yeah. With Sophie.
which is one down from me. Um, did that increase any pressure on you?
Yeah. 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 Just like a lot. Here I am with all these like big hitters, and I was like, um, I don't think I should be up here.
Yep, I felt
Like,
exactly the same way.
what's going on, guys?
That's what happens when you do really well. And you're beside Sophie Held, who is very, very
Yeah.
good. Caitlin Albert is on the other side of you, who is also very good with it as well. I don't know if you because we had never spoken
Mhm.
before national, so I know you did find out through tests, I believe, but I
Mhm.
predicted going in because you were so good at the virtual things. I
Yeah.
placed you in one of the as a potential winner for the
Yeah.
whole thing as well. I don't know if that added pressure onto you as well. Some random individual from Ontario saying they're going to do very well at this competition.
I think I was more flattered than anything. I was like, I think the in-person physical nature of being at the front was far more daunting. Um, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
that
no
front row
added pressure,
because
Adam. You're in the clear.
okay. Um, okay, so that means that I'll make a note I could do that again next time. Uh, yeah, being in that front row, it's tough because there's a lot going on up
Yeah,
there as well. A lot of distractions
yeah.
with it, and you said that you like virtual competition. You can control a lot more factors than when you're
Mhm.
in not an in-person
Yeah.
session. Um, I noticed you do try to like. There's a lot of people going on.
Mhm.
You're one of the few people that wear the big headphones. Does that help you? Do you find? Is there a particular reason that you would do it?
I've kind of tried different things with noise canceling headphones. Initially I was like, okay, it's very distracting because like I did wear them for individuals for Westerns. And I've never found a music source or even silence that works to keep me going at a good pace. I either get too into the music or the sounds, or it just is too slow and it slows me right down. And so for me, the best is just to not have it. But I can find it helpful to wear them as from the front door to the table, just because there's so much excitement, there's so much chatter, and there's just a lot going on. So I did wear them quite a bit leading up to the actual competition, but not during. Yeah.
Okay. Did you have any goals or for the individual rounds based
Mm.
on your virtual success and everything else?
Make it through to qualify for the final
Mhm.
and finish the puzzle in the given time. Those were my goals.
Even with your virtual success, your multiple first places,
I
seconds,
mean,
thirds, it
I
was
guess
just to get through?
I guess my goals changed is what actually happened. Because I put less pressure on the first one for sure, because I was pretty confident I would make it through. And so I was like, as long as I make it through, doesn't really matter where I place on this first one, especially when I knew it was going to be a stock image, because I had anticipated all the puzzles to be of the six artists. And I was like, oh, this is a stock image. I haven't really practiced those.
Yep.
Here we go. Um,
No
and
way
so
to research that one.
yeah. Oh, nope. Because Tess was in the first qualifier, and so I knew from that I was like, oh, it's a stock image. Copy. We'll see how that goes. And then when we got to the second one, I was my goal was, okay, let's see if I can be top whatever. But then as soon as I saw the image, I was like, oh no. But I think as Tess has said many times, everyone's doing the same puzzle. And I was like, okay, let's see how this goes. But as that competition went on and people were finishing, I and time was ticking by, and I kept that pink tree, I kept trying pieces and not fitting them in. Even I'd shape sorted and just was not happening. My goal was just to finish before the time was up. And it got down to 10 seconds. And I think Amanda was on mic and was counting down. And there was a volunteer near me, and I had maybe like, I don't know, six pieces left. And the volunteer just said, breathe in a very like calm and quiet voice. And I was like, okay, here we go. And I got the last few pieces in with like 3 seconds left on the clock or something. And I was like, okay, well, I did it in time.
Yeah, and that's the final image. So the
Yeah.
pink Katarina one, which I don't think any of us wanted that. We knew it was going to show up, but I was always hoping it was going to be in a qualification round for somebody else. That was always the hope,
Yeah.
which it obviously wasn't. And um, it was it was a tough one. I recently redid it this week a couple of times, and it just puts me in a bad mood. Like my time was a little bit faster, and I tried again. I got a little bit faster after that because I'm terrified it's going to show up at Worlds.
Yeah.
They did it last time. They took our finals puzzle from 2024, and it showed up as a qualifier at Worlds. So who knows? This
Yeah.
could as well. And if it does, I'll be in a bad mood for a week. The one positive is it's very North American limited right now. It's not as
Right.
readily available. So maybe a benefit.
Yeah, it's not
But
the image I had like earmarked for Katarina. There were some other images of hers that I were like, these would make great puzzles. But as a final, I guess this one makes sense.
to a degree, it's still a tough one. I did practice her 1,000 piece one
Mm,
with the ice skating.
yeah.
That did help because the ground, well, it's water in this one and ice in the other one. It's very similar types of brush strokes,
Mhm.
and kind of how she does the buildings is similar. So I
Mhm.
do think by doing, I hated that puzzle, but I do think by doing it, it did help a little bit. But yeah, you do finish it.
Yeah.
The which is the main goal. That's really the main goal is that you can leave saying you finished both puzzles at there. It was it's definitely a lower result than I kind of expected
Mhm.
for you, just because you are so well known for the virtual puzzles
Yeah.
in there, and I know you're going to do very well in the pairs events and the teams events. So, um, do you maybe like put extra pressure on yourself when it came to the individual aspect, or is it just pairs and teams is just kind of your wheelhouse and that's where you put more of the focus?
I think that's what it comes down to. I feel stronger on in a pair or a team. So I knew that individuals would be the weakest of the three suits in person. So I tried to not to put too much weight on it because I was like, okay. And after we'd finished the final, I was like, okay, that's done. We're gonna move on. We have bigger fish to fry.
That's yeah. By the time this is posted as well, you'll probably have won the next virtual event
Well,
on
hold your horses.
Yeah, I'm gonna put the pressure back on you.
Oh no.
Um, yeah, but we'll move on to pairs. Happy for you in this event for a variety of reasons. The main one being, I'm just gonna skip to the end. you don't win pairs. So
No,
it's the first time you haven't won a pairs competition. Because did you win the qualifier?
no, we came fifth in qualifier.
Yes, because so did me and my partner in the second. That's why we were
In
on
the
the
other
table
puzzle. Yeah.
beside each other. So that was the first time you didn't win. But in a final,
Mhm.
um, you're partnered up with Tess, which is obviously you're going to do well. I've asked a few other people in the qualifying round. I am going to go back. You didn't win the qualifier, and a
Mhm.
few other people have said they kind of took the qualifier a bit easier because the individual final for you was right after.
Mhm.
Um, did you and Tess take a more casual approach to it, do you think?
I think so. I think I wouldn't say we got complacent or anything,
No,
but
no. You're still
um,
finished fifth.
yeah. And we liked the image. So it was, we're like, oh, we've got this. And we were just kind of like, I
Yeah,
wouldn't say
true.
we're casually puzzling, but it felt kind of more casual than speed puzzling. I was like, we're just doing it. We're doing it as quick as we can, but it feels more fun and like light than maybe some other puzzle competitions. And yeah, we come fifth. The one thing that Tess pointed out and won't let me live down is that I turned the puzzle sideways. For whatever reason, I was like, this is how this puzzle needs to be put together. And
No.
I still don't know why I did that, but that's what I did. And that's how we did it.
Yeah, but you finish first. You get through. You're
Yeah.
obviously the two of you are going to go through. You do end up on potentially or arguably the second worst table in the finals. It's in that main corner. It's not table one, which is the worst,
Yeah.
but table two and table nine, I believe. Table nine is what you were at because I was at 10. Table nine, they're in the corner with all the busyness as well, anyways. So again, not ideal, but Devin Donaldson and Katie finish in first, which nobody didn't think that was going to happen. They're
Yeah.
both very, very good. The only pair that I thought might have given them some competition would have been the two of you. And there there is a gap though between the
Mhm.
finished ones. You're the two of you are somewhat close to being done because, like I said, you're at the table beside me. I can see once they announce that they're finished, I'm immediately looking at your table going, okay, so they must be close. And it wasn't as close as I thought.
Mhm.
Was did was there a bit of nervousness that kind of kicked in because there was such a gap between first and second?
I no, I wouldn't say like do you mean was there nervousness because there was a gap or was there nervousness in general?
Nervousness because first place finished,
Yeah,
and it's not like you had like five pieces left. You had
right. Yeah.
more than that. So potentially, because we all know as soon as one person finishes, or one team or group or whatever, you don't know how long it's going to start being dominoes quite quickly.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a couple pieces left, there's a lot of opportunity for other pairs to sneak in there and
Yeah.
take away your podium finishes. Did that kind of cross your mind, or were you just focused on what was in front of you?
I think we were quite focused. I think our goal going into it was to be like podium finish, so like top six in this case. And I was like, it doesn't like we're gonna do what we're gonna do. We did some things that we've never done. Like we switched sides of the tables a lot. We never do that. And it just one of us was getting stuck and we're like, let's switch. Let's get a different perspective. Um, she always works upside down. I never do. And here we were working the opposite way.
Yeah, it definitely because I saw the two of you switch, and eventually with my partner, we have also never done that.
Yeah.
And we were slowing down at certain points, and I said to her, "I was like, should we switch? Should we also try what they were doing? Because they're very good, obviously. If
Hmm.
they're switching, maybe it's something that'll be." And we utilized the same thing, probably a bit too late, but we did. But you do finish in second place, only 10 seconds ahead of third. So, like I
Yeah.
said, those dominoes fall fast. You said you were looking for podium, so are happy with
Yeah.
the second place finish?
So happy. so happy. If you go back and watch the video of us, we're like so happy.
I don't need to watch the video. I saw it. It was I, I witnessed it within 6 feet of it happening. So yeah, happy for you both with that. And then teams, which we obviously need to talk about. We
Really?
were in the same qualifier, I
Yeah.
believe, with the
With
Alice
Halifax. Yeah.
Alice's puzzle, which I liked. We did one of her other ones, which was with a different brand. The Occurrence has one of
Oh yeah.
hers, and
Yeah.
it's essentially identical in design to it.
Yeah.
The same building type style, the same grassy type style. So we kind of knew maybe what to expect from her. Was this on your list of potentials?
Yeah. It was my pick to show up for her. Um, of of her images that are available online, it was the most interesting because it has the water in the front.
Yeah.
All the others didn't. And I was like, it's gonna be this one. I'm like 80-90% sure.
And that just reminded me. Did you know? Did you pick the Toronto puzzle for the final for the pairs as well?
So by that point, we had Miguel and Patrick left as the two artists, and I was pretty sure Patrick would show up as the final image. And so I was like, okay,
For the
of
teams.
Miguel's images, which would I pick? And at this point, we had already seen Alice's with Halifax. So I was like, okay, it might be one of the Canadian cities because a lot of Miguel's images do feature Canadian cities. Some of them are more generic and non-specific. And so I had picked some of the Canadian cities, some Edmonton, some Calgary, and I was looking at them like an hour before the competition, and I was like, I'm guessing it's going to be the Toronto one, just because it's the most colorful of them, and like it's very bright. I think it's a good representation of Canada. Like it works on many levels. So I texted Tess and I was like, hey, this is my best guess. If we get this, what's our strategy? And so we chatted a little bit of strategy, and then it showed up, and we're like, okay, let's do the plan.
That's
Yeah.
it's See, I have no issue with it. I think the competition starts as soon as you sign up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what you do to prepare is part of the competition. If you
Yeah.
choose not to, um, like with Worlds coming up in a few weeks, if you're choosing not to practice any Ravensburgers going into it, that's
Yeah.
completely up to you. But you can't be upset if one of the 60 something puzzles that I've practiced over the past couple months shows up and I have an advantage that way. That's
Yeah.
Everyone has the same opportunity to do that. I initially tried to go through all the different artists and their websites, and I just kind of figured, nah,
Hmm.
I just made an assumption. It's probably not going to be posted anywhere. I know one artist did post it,
Hmm.
and the CJPA found out and said, you need to take that down.
No.
You can talk about it afterwards, but I think essentially the post was like, I just given this image to Ravensburger, or it's going to
Sure.
be used here. And they're like, no,
No,
we
take
can't
it
have
down.
that. And one person from the CJPA did ask, like, did you see that on their social media page? Because
No.
we figured you'd be looking on there. As like, actually, no, I probably just didn't get to it in time.
Yeah.
And once they told me that they had kind of gone through, I was like, I'm not going to find it, so whatever.
Yeah.
Really, I should have tried harder, and I won't make that mistake next time. Um, but back to the teams. This is the first time, again, similar to what your Western pairs was like. You've never team practiced with this team.
We
Um,
practiced one time at
before
the
the
end
J
of the
Hub.
first day
Yeah,
because
that's what I
none
mean.
of
Yeah.
us were in the evening competition.
Yeah, you did the butterfly or
The
wild
wing things.
wing things, yeah, which I love that puzzle.
It's
But
great.
it's a good one just to kind of practice. It doesn't really
Yeah.
say what your overall skill is. It just
No, we
to have
know
a
what
chat and work with each
the
other.
yeah.
Um,
We did establish like which two people would be on each side of the table, regardless of which order they were in.
Yeah.
So, and we did, this was also the first time Tess and I had ever used trays, like sorting trays. We never used them. And yeah, we used them for both the qualifier and the final, and also for the final of pairs.
Yes, I
Yeah.
noticed that. I think you finished second. Yeah, you do. You finished second in the qualifiers, which
Yeah.
for your first time doing a proper puzzle
Yeah.
in a competition and not wing things, that's a very good result to have. Especially given the only team that beat you was my team in the qualifier, and
Yeah.
we had practiced a lot, significantly more than what
You didn't
your
just
team.
do wing things once?
Yeah, I think that was the first puzzle we actually one of the first puzzles we did.
Oh.
Wasn't the first, but it was the first day we practiced together.
Mhm.
It was, I think it was the fifth puzzle of that day,
Oh my
and
goodness.
and we practiced a lot more days after that. So we had that advantage
Yeah.
going into it with it. But uh, when you see the image, because I do like asking people, when we see that one show up, did that, first of all, did that show up in your research?
No, no,
Okay.
it's an original image.
Oh, so purely original. I would
It's
figure if it did, you would have known because it had the puzzle pieces hidden
yeah,
inside of it. So
yeah,
it would have been a really good indicator of maybe.
yeah. No,
But at the
it's not
same
a
time, the other, like we practiced his other the Canada
mm,
one,
yeah,
as a team. And I figured maybe he'll do another Canada themed for the final. For
another
team
version of
final, it
it.
made sense.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, it wasn't. What was your reaction when you saw that
Um,
puzzle?
well, I had some sense of what it could be. So I was like, it's going to be a collage. It's probably going to be busy. And so I wasn't as much of a shock to me. Like it was maybe a little busier than I thought it would be, but I was like, guys, we just got to take a deep breath and do it. Like this is the
But
puzzle.
but I'm looking. So this is his other one.
Yeah.
This to me is significantly easier
Yeah,
than
it's
this
definitely less busy.
monstrosity of a puzzle. At least there's different colors. There's clear skies
And that
going
one
on.
has like
There's
more
stuff we know.
edge space.
Yeah. Um, yeah. This a proper bottom all the way like it
Yeah.
was. Um, Also, it might have been easier because it's all Canada themed things, so we know a lot of the stuff in
We
there.
know Canada.
Yeah. Um, this thing though, there's something of everything in the world is put into this puzzle. Without practicing with your team, there must have been kind of a how do we like okay, what are people's strengths when we like
Yeah.
if you don't know each other well enough. You
No.
and Tess, yes, but
Yeah.
Danielle and Amanda,
Yeah.
much tougher to know.
Yeah, we like my biggest thing going into any speed puzzling competition is let's keep the communication rolling. Let's be working on different things because if we're both working on the same thing, that does not make sense. And we were just really good at being like, I don't know where this goes. Can someone else place this within the puzzle? I'm going to continue working on this and just or like, hey, can someone give me a job? And then I'd get a tray of green pieces. And yeah, it was just about talking. We were just always talking. And I started with the border, the edge. So they were talking amongst the three of them. And then when I finished, I was like, give me something. I want
But
a
the
job.
thing is, but what? Because everything's so small and it's not easy
Yes.
just to move on. So I've spoken with Tess about
Yeah.
this round. I've heard her point of view. I've heard Devin and Katie's point of view as well, with
Yeah.
being in between uh, my team's table and your team's table and their experience with it. I know my experience, but you're getting close to finishing, and no one has finished yet. So there's a potential chance that your team may win this. Um, what are the emotions kind of like as you're down to the last 20 or even 10 pieces?
Well, typically, as you finish, you as a team get cl physically closer together because there's just less to puzzle. Um, and as that happens, the emotions get way more heightened. And I just personally just kept reminding myself to breathe. I was like, just keep breathing, just like you did in individuals. Even if you finished 50, whatever, it doesn't matter. Just keep breathing. And yeah, and because that was I think that was our downfall. Well, downfall at Western teams was we just got a little too frantic at the end. Uh, yeah, just keep trying to stay grounded in that moment was very challenging. But then the last piece went in, and I was like, I think we did it, guys.
So yeah, that your team does finish. You
Yeah.
place the last piece is placed in there, and you do celebrate, but very, very quickly after another team celebrates, which would be my team.
Yeah.
Um, did you think you had first, like it was you knew you had it, or did you think there was a chance maybe not? Because it happens so quickly. I've seen
So
the
fast.
video replays. The look on Tess's face is hilarious. I cover that in one of the other videos on this channel where I've zoomed in on her face specifically and the reaction of the shock of I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's the back of your head, so you can't really
Yeah.
tell what your facial expression is.
Yeah.
What's going through your mind at this as close of a finish as you could possibly get?
It was like in my head, it was too close to call. I was like, I think we did it, but like I wasn't all in on celebrating at that moment. Until we knew for sure because it was just too close.
Yeah.
Um, it's just too close. And then when the lone piece that had wandered away from the pact on your table was brought to light, I was like, oh no, we did finish first.
Yeah, yeah. So officially it goes down as 11-second difference because of the penalty, but it was if it was a second, I would have been shocked
Yeah.
between the two. But I'm that's gonna eat at my brain for a while, I think. I don't know if that's worse or the escape room key dropping worse, but this it's close between the two. I think. Do you have any plans to do that puzzle ever again?
Yes, but much slower.
Yeah. I I need to convince myself. I leave for Spain 2 weeks today as of this being
Hmm.
recorded, and I have to do it one more time. I don't believe it's going to show up, but I just can't get over what if.
What
Um,
if, yeah.
the team's qualification puzzles are never easy puzzles, and if it's going to show up, that's where it's going to show up. It would be insane for it to show up in an individual, or
Yeah.
no, it
Dead
can't show up in
pairs.
pairs. It can't show up in pairs because the final is an unreleased, and that's the only 1,000 piece.
Hmm. Yeah.
So it would have to be teams qualifying. Um, you do get an option of four. There's four puzzles. You have to pick two of them. But if
Yeah.
that's one of them, I can't imagine what the other three would be. It's there's going to be no good choices.
Yeah.
But I will have to trudge my way through it. But your team wins, so you finish off with a gold on the weekend, and a silver
Yeah.
with your pairs.
Yeah.
But it's very successful flying out to Ontario and getting that. Are you planning on a 2026 return?
Yeah. Yeah. Gotta hold first place.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard that from three of the team members. There's always that hope where it's like, oh, maybe not, because it's so hard to keep a team together year after year. I don't think I've ever seen the winning team stay together, or even
Well,
winning partners stay together. But I think 2026 there's going to be a lot of repeats
yeah.
with it. But yeah, I hope you do almost as well next year. Almost. Uh,
Almost.
uh, yeah, so that's all good. You're not going to Worlds. Is it something that you would consider in the future potentially?
Potentially. It's September is a challenging time of year to not be here because of work. But if it wasn't, I would probably be going. I have family in Spain, but they're a different part of Spain, but still in Spain. So last year I actually was in Spain when Worlds was happening, which is just in a different part of Spain. And I was there, get this, Adam, I was there for a long weekend. I In September, we work can be challenging, so you can take 2 business days off in a row at most. And so I'd taken a Friday and a Monday off. I left Vancouver Thursday evening, got to Spain the next day. It was my Nana's 80th birthday, so celebrated her birthday, and then came back to Vancouver for the Monday. It was
That's
insanity.
it's I like those types of trips. I've done a few things like that where it's a little quick journey here or there. Like I've flown to a different country for a dinner once and just flown right back after. And it's fun just to kind of have that type of
To have that
experience. Spain
story.
is a trek from Vancouver though. That
I go into Spain for the weekend.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
it,
totally fine.
if like even if you're in Ontario, it makes a little bit more sense.
Yep.
A little, not a
Not
lot,
a
but a
lot more,
little.
but a little more. Yeah.
That cuts off at least, I don't know, what is it, 4 hours from
Four or
here?
five
Five?
hours. Yeah.
Yeah, another five
Depending on the
hours
route.
into a 6 hour flight. It's plus, I'm assuming it wasn't direct.
Mm-mm.
No. That's yeah. I I really wish that World wasn't in September because like I used to teach during obviously during that school year. I haven't. This is the first September that I won't be in a classroom to start off the school year.
Yeah.
So it just kind of worked out this time. I
Mhm.
did book everything before I knew whether or not. Uh, Luckily, I was working the past few semesters teaching at a university. So
Mhm.
worst case scenario, I'm missing a week. I'll post something online that the students can
Be
watch. It
okay.
wouldn't be the end of the world. But
Yeah.
like when I was teaching like grade 4, 5, 6 student, that would be so much tougher to leave in the second week of the school year and probably wouldn't be allowed. But I hope they move it to a summer at some point. It's like even 2 weeks earlier in Spain is not going to make a huge difference in terms of temperature. Last week
It's
of August,
still gonna be hot.
yeah, it's going to be hot no matter what. So whatever. Um, it's the fact that we're talking about jobs kind of I do find it common across the puzzle community where there seems to be a connection between puzzling and our job. So,
Hmm.
for instance, my nationals partner, she's a doctor. One of my team members, Riley, they're a doctor. And I know there's a bunch of other doctors within it. There's a ton of people that are teachers
Mhm.
within it, and with doctors, you need to be focused and pay attention to details. With
Yeah.
teachers, there's the creative aspect and paying attention to details and patience as well for both of those. There's a lot of people in marketing, like myself at the moment, detail, creativity, organization.
Yeah.
Um, Consulting comes up quite a bit. But then we have the ultra creative people. And I think when you have uh, a creative mind, it kind of contributes to puzzling. And I
Mm.
think you would fall in the one of the ultra creative type of professions.
Thank you.
Do you want to just kind of talk about what it is
Yeah.
that you do?
Yeah, so I started as a stage manager for theater. Stage managers, it's kind of one of those jobs that's kind of hard to explain, but they're essentially not to be egotistical, but they're kind of the heart of the show because without them, the actors are in the dark with no clothes on and there's no sound. Um, the stage manager is in the rehearsal process is in charge of like filtering all the notes from the director to the various designers in terms is making all the schedules, is keeping track of the blocking, so where both people and things move on stage and when those things move. is coordinating things with all the designers. So if like the costume designer needs to come and do fittings for the actors, coordinating those things. Um, Everything goes through the stage manager. Like if you are not sure about something, the stage manager will know, or if they don't, they'll know who to go to. And then once you move into tech and into show, the stage manager takes on calling the show, which is saying when all the cues have to happen, and is also the main point of contact for the performers and for any of the technical staff at the theater as well. And so that's kind of what I've done for, I don't know, like 15 years. And then, but with a focus on theater for young audiences, so K through 12, and theater that is site specific. And so, like doing shows in the middle of the forest at night, or doing a show in a church basement that's like specifically built for that church basement. Um, but one of the things that I've kind of done the most of is touring theater for young audiences, both across Canada, across the US, and to Singapore. And so I've like that has strengthened my creative problem solving the most, because things can happen. Things can go awry more frequently when you're touring a show than if you're just stationary in a theater. My last show was a blacklight puppet show. And in our show, we have a lot of things on wheels. And there's a lot of older venues that have what we call a raked stage, so that they have a bit of a slope to them. And when you put a wheel thing on a sloped surface, it tends to roll, which is not great when you're in the dark and you can't see it. All the performers and myself were head to toe in black with like a balaclava, like with a sheer black fabric. And so we can see, but like it's dark. Like we're using the black lights that are facing the stage as guides as to where we are in space. And the elements that are glowing that we're holding and moving also as reference points. And so we quickly learned how to navigate that and be like, okay, if we're moving these kind of pieces, we need to make sure the wheels are horizontal to the stage so that they have a better shot at not rolling. Cool. And so just trying to problem solve those, because of course in rehearsal, we didn't have that as an issue. So that's kind of how I started in theater. And then last May, I transitioned to my current role as production manager for a touring theater company that tours theater for young audiences. I now work for a company called Green Thumb. They tour shows that focus on social issues that children might be facing in their lives, or be like their friends are facing. But I like to think of it as presenting those things in a way that is more showing than telling, so that it's more of a conversation starter that allows for conversations to happen afterwards in the classrooms and on the schoolyards. And there's a lot of deliberateness in the scripts and making sure it's accessible. Like, for example, we have a show coming up called People Like Vince, and it's about this girl called Myrtle and her uncle who lives with bipolar. But the whole show is kind of shown from Myrtle's perspective. So it's about how she's experiencing her uncle and the symptoms of living with bipolar. And so it's I don't know, I feel very proud of working for Green Thumb. I'd previously toured with them as a stage manager, and so I was very like keenly aware of kind of the vibe. And when the job posting came up, I took it. The production manager, to get to that, takes care of all the technical elements of the show, gets the set ready for rehearsals, hires all the stage managers. I'm also takes care of the vans, make sure they are being maintained. I'm also the facilities manager, so I'm also taking care of the buildings, the studio building that has two studios. and working alongside like the artistic director and the general manager and the rest of the team to make sure everything's being taken care of. We're a pretty small team, but big impact. So that's currently what I do, which is why September is a challenging month to get away because we start rehearsals. Like our first rehearsal is the second day of September. So we're in it to win it at this point. And we have three shows in the fall. So they're kind of stacked on top of each other. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess if you're doing stuff directed towards children, this is when
Mhm.
schools are back in, and
Yeah.
that's your time to practice with it. It's the the story from Myrtle's point of view, that sounds very interesting.
Yeah.
As someone who obviously was a student for a long time, because we all are,
Yeah.
and had to sit through certain productions and plays, but then became a teacher and
Yeah.
had to choose which productions and plays would roll through the school. You don't get a lot of um, quality storylines, stuff like that,
Yeah.
where it, it, I like how you're trying to create that conversation after
Mhm.
it's done, where it's not just, okay, this is going to eat up an hour or 90
Yeah.
minutes of our day. Great. I don't need to plan a lesson for that time period.
Yeah.
It's how can I use this afterwards? And the
Mhm.
really good plays and productions that I ever took students to are the ones that they're talking about afterwards, immediately. The ones
Yeah.
they're talking about a week later, or when
Yeah.
the next school year rolls around, like, oh, are they coming back to
Mhm.
do another one? Because we really liked last year. If you could have a 7 year old or 8 year old or 12 or 14-year old
Yeah.
remember something a year later that they did at school, great.
It's win. It's a win.
Yeah, that's the big win in there. It's no, those all sound it's important to have those types of organizations as well
Mhm.
within the community. Like teachers can only do so much. They're only getting so many messages from parents or siblings or friends. It's bringing in um and it's not just an easy topic as well. Like it's not
No.
just
And like
something where
Greenthumb covers
yeah.
like has covered we're entering our 50th year and have covered every big challenging subject matter you can think of. Um s- Both for high school and elementary. Like the shows like the first show I ever did with Green Thumb focused on cyberbullying and it was a high school show. Um And then one I did recently before I started was all about drug use but and it's the like don't do drugs show, but it's actually cool. And like the whole sh most of the show is told through rap.
Yeah.
Um, but and the first rap is a little like sus, and the kids are never on board with the first rap. But then the second rap, they're like, oh, this white guy can actually rap. And so then they're on board with the rest of the show. And we have a DJ on stage for that show. It's just, yeah.
That's yeah, just I just laughed when you said the phrase, but it's actually cool. It sounds like one of those like parents trying to get you to do
Yeah, yeah.
it's really cool. It's really
It's
fun.
really
Like,
cool,
okay,
actually.
mom, I'm sure it is. But yeah, if you've been in business for 50 years, then
Yeah,
yes, it's they're doing something something correct,
yeah.
which is good to see. Yeah. Um, okay, so I think the job is obviously interesting. You've done very well within the puzzle community in terms of meeting partners and team members. Um, I'm just going to circle back just really briefly. You
Sure.
have, when we talked about wearing the noise canceling headphones, where it kind of, and it's specifically when you said you wear them to get to from the lobby where it's very, very busy and people bustling around, a lot of people in the alleyways and stuff getting to the table. It can be overwhelming for
Mhm.
some people. And is there, so the headphones obviously help with that.
Yeah.
When it comes to things like ADHD and those that have maybe autism or other neurodivergent um, aspects to them, um,
Mhm.
do you find that maybe puzzling in general helps with this? Is there certain strategies that you yourself have taken to kind of balance out all the aspects of who you are as an individual.
Hmm. Yeah, um so I only I guess it was last year I got my ADHD diagnosis. And prior to that, I had gone on a tour with someone with ADHD, and they had said, "Hey, you know you're autistic, right?" And I was like, "Sorry, what?" And as we continued the tour, because it was a long tour, I would do something, and then I would turn to her and be like, "Was that an autistic thing I just did?" And she would just be in the corner, just nodding. I was like, "Ah, so neurotypical people don't do that." Okay, I started to piece it together. And then after the tour, I started to do a bit more research. I was talking to my brother, who is also has ADHD and is autistic, and we comparing notes often. And yeah, I had like AirPods at one point, and they were helpful. But I was talking to my brother, and he was like, "Yeah, noise canceling headphones, like the ones that go over your ears, game changer." And I was like, "Okay, let's try it out." And so I saved up for them because they're not cheap. And they total game changer. They've changed my life. It's I can now go outside and the world is not on like my brain's not on fire. I like to think of it as like a cup of water, and as I get stimulated, the water just drains at a faster rate than a neurotypical brain. And it just takes more time to fill the cup back up at the same by the same token. So I try to strategize around when I am spending that energy more rapidly and when I can kind of be more reserved with it. And so the headphones help me keep it more reserved until I'm like, okay, let's go. Yeah, noise is the biggest one for me. Um, yeah, I think that kind of covers it. But yeah, it's something I'm still learning and figuring out. Typically when someone kind of figures out their diagnosis for either or both, they have a bit of a skill regression. And so it can take a bit of time for that to come back. And so that's been a bit of a journey just to be like, okay, how do I bring this back? But puzzling, I don't know, for many years has just been I've always found it very calming and very grounding. And like, especially like I'm in theater, so I like show tunes. So I put some show tunes on and I'm just like bopping away and doing my thing. And in the same way that like building Lego can be quite meditative, it's just I get very zoned in and 3 hours can go by and I'm like, I guess I should go to bed. It's like 1 in the morning. Um, or just two more pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been a journey and it will continue to be a journey. Yeah.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're working with it well.
Hmm.
So if you have your strategies and such in place, and I know there's other people within the puzzle community that have similar um,
Neurodivergence.
yeah,
Yeah.
uh, which I think there's an aspect to like I have there's mental health stuff that I've gone through,
Mm.
which is not the same thing, but puzzling has helped with that aspect because yes, at some points it can be calming. It's a way when um, I like when things are like have a finish to them.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
where
That.
uh,
That.
and during COVID specifically,
Yeah.
everything was unfinished, and there was
Mhm.
no way to know when things were going to be done, whether it was the lockdowns themselves, whether it was like I was doing a master's at that time and trying to do my research and thesis, which was impossible. There
Yeah.
was no end dates for anything, and I grew up doing a lot of puzzles,
Yeah.
so um, but stopped once I started working and traveling a bit more. That just kind of put on the back burner, but once I was very bored one day and Amazon, as for all their
Yeah.
faults, can
Yeah.
deliver things very quickly. So that ordered a few puzzles, and just finishing a puzzle, just like something kind of clicked, going, okay, I can, if I just keep doing this, this
Yeah.
will kind of help through the other stressful things that were going on, and that kind of helped me get through that last year or so of
Mhm.
that long period of time. And I think puzzling can help people in a range of different ways. But it's yeah, thanks for sharing
Yeah,
that
of
with
course.
with me and people who watch this.
Uh, I'll
And yeah,
also I'll also add that I've had a couple concussions, and puzzles have been helpful in rehabilitation in that way as well. And again, as you said, it's the finishing of it, and for me, it was that every piece has a place to go. Um, it felt there wasn't an endlessness to it. I was like, there is an end to this puzzle. There, all the pieces have a place. Let's do
I
it.
I don't get frustrated when a puzzle doesn't has a missing piece.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
Especially if I've like thrifted it or traded it and I know in advance.
Yeah.
If I get a brand new puzzle and there's not a piece missing, I finish what I could, so I'm okay. I'm okay with that. But there's if I was competing and I was missing a piece, then there's going to be a different issue. But no, that's all really really good stuff. There's one more thing that I did want to ask you about. Again, I do some research into different people and I
Oh.
collect information. That's what I do. I like collecting information. I like knowing what's going on. But I also know that you like to collect things as well.
Mhm.
Is there in the with specific to puzzles, obviously.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about your puzzle specific collection?
Yes. So the biggest portion of my puzzle collection is my vintage Springbok puzzles. I have collected them for many years now. I got to having too many puzzles of the vintage, so I have had to scale back which years I collect. And so currently it's the 60s and 70s because Springbok started in 64 or 65. And any puzzles beyond that that just catch my fancy that I really love the image for, they can also stay in the collection. But yeah, too many puzzles. My house is built of puzzles at this point. I added a few additional shelves. I was like, oh yeah, I can sneak two more shelves in here, and they are full of puzzles already. Like they simply replaced the stacks of boxes of puzzles that were there before.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
uh,
what tends to happen.
yeah,
Why Springbok? There's not a lot of brands and
yeah.
companies with, but why Springbok specifically?
The vintage puzzles, the pieces are really nice and thick. They have, it's a random cut. I like random. And it just it feels quality. I guess is what it comes down to. The image choices that they pick, like the images they chose, are also very interesting to me. Springbok was started by a British couple that moved to the US, and so a lot of the images can be seen, or like a very similar image by another a British company, I think maybe called Wellington. I'm not quite sure. Or Waddington, maybe something like that. And so there's some similarities of images, but Springbok did a really good job of curating their image selection, including like one of the older ones is this Picasso that was specifically made to be turned into a puzzle. There are actual puzzle pieces in the image. I don't, it's not part of my collection yet, but it's on my wish list.
That's yeah, yeah. Picasso seems like he lived
So long
years
ago.
so long ago, but not really. And it's
No.
I could
Yeah.
yeah. I think I've only ever done one Springbok. It wasn't a vintage one. I know that. It was like create it's an image of like a Crayola box and a
Oh,
special
was it?
collector's edition thing.
Okay.
Um that's the only one I've done. I enjoyed it for
Yeah.
sure. I do like, yeah, the older puzzles. Um, and Ravensburger is the same. If you go
Yeah.
back to the puzzles from like the 80s and earlier,
Yeah.
those are some quality pieces. Like they're not, there's no paper coming up off of the top of
No,
that.
no, they were
They're
built to
not pieces
last.
aren't breaking in half. Like it's they're I do like them. I did a Ravensburger from an older Ravensburger earlier this week practicing with somebody, and it's an older one, and yeah, the pieces were thicker and just so much better. Hated the image, very very tough image. Ravensburger is not good for that for vintage, but it was I just like the nice quality pieces.
Yeah.
I wish they'd bring them back,
Right.
but we can only wish. Yeah, that was excellent, all excellent stuff. You're very, very interesting things things that you've done with the puzzle community, your job, and all the other stuff with it. I just have a few wrap-up questions, quick fire questions for you that I've sent to you in advance. So we're gonna go through them. I have a pretty good guess at what the answer to number one is, but we'll go through these. Yeah, so here we go. Your favorite brand of puzzle?
I have two answers. Vintage Springbok, modern
Shocking.
Springbok, not a fan. The quality went way downhill. But for modern brand, I would say Stumpcraft out of Calgary, the wooden puzzle.
Yeah, I that's the one I did the traveling puzzle here, like
Mhm.
oversaw the in my area, and yeah, we had a stump craft.
Yeah.
Excellent. It was like four puzzles in one, where they
Mm.
each section came apart. Very, very good.
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk about that on this channel at some point. Your favorite piece count?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. Say classic 1000.
Fair enough. Your favorite cut style?
Random.
Random. Yep.
Especially if there are whimsies within the puzzle.
Yeah, the whimsies are always fun. The
Yeah.
I wish the wooden puzzles just weren't so expensive. That's
Right. It is
the
the
one
bear.
downside.
Yeah.
Your favorite speed puzzle event?
Paris.
Yep. Yeah. I think I'm 4 for 4 in my head with what you would say on this. This is where there's no way for me to
Oh,
guess. Your
get them out of
favorite
here.
puzzler. Your favorite puzzler.
Um, oh, I'm gonna go with my Nana. She's such a badass. It's just you gotta go with her.
I love when it's the family members.
Yeah.
There's no wrong answer to that question. It's
No.
just interesting. Your favorite puzzle you've ever done?
Um, 2000 Cloudberry Gradient.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to look that one up. The hardest puzzle you've ever done.
This puzzle is simply called Jigsaw Puzzle. It's a vertical puzzle. At the top it says Jigsaw Puzzle in large chunky brown font, and the background and the rest of the puzzle is simply like a grid like graph paper, except there's thicker lines and thinner lines within those thick lines. Um, Also, like no idea what the brand is. It was more random cut than Springbok, with some like giant, super funky shapes and some teeny tiny pieces. When I finished it, it took a long time. I reached out to Karen Puzzles. Shout out to Karen Puzzles. Gotta shout her out in every video, it seems.
Yep.
Um, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm interested in that." So she acquired it, and it was featured in one of her videos as a challenging puzzle. And the comments were saying that we were probably the only two people to have ever finished this puzzle because it was a journey.
That is, I'm gonna look up that puzzle and that video after just
Yeah.
to see what it is. Once Worlds is done, I can focus on other things.
Yeah.
Um, your least favorite design to see on a puzzle?
Muddy or blurry coloring.
Yeah. Yeah, like painting wise, or just like a blurry image, you mean?
Either.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Crispy lines are better,
yeah.
obviously.
Um, your favorite puzzle moment?
It's a tie. Either Nationals finish, or I have this very distinct memory as a child of working on this puzzle with my dad. it was a Heya puzzle. It comes in the triangle boxes. And it was this illustrated image of this photographer taking a photo of all these animals in a jungle. And I just one of these images that has stuck in my brain. And I recently found a photo of me as a child, like posing with the finished puzzle. And then I found the actual puzzle on Facebook Marketplace. So I was like, this needs to be in my collection. So at some point I will complete that puzzle and do a like
Reenactment.
reenactment of that image side by side.
That's nice. Actually gives me an idea for something. That's nice. That's good. Your favorite way to get new puzzles.
Either puzzle swaps or thrifting. I've hosted a couple puzzle swaps myself. Um, and I have an idea for an unconventional puzzle swap to in the future.
Do you want to elaborate on what that means or keep that a
Nope, it's
secret?
top secret for right now for all
That is
my
fair.
Vancouver puzzlers.
And last question, a dream puzzle that you've not done but wish you could.
This is one I've looked at so many times. It's the Travel Around Art by Graphica. It is 54,000 pieces. Um, Puzzles Canada does sell it. It comes in a suitcase.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Yep.
but the suitcase weighs 30 kilos, which is too much to take on an airplane.
Ironically, you can't take
Yes.
the suitcase on.
No. So you would have to like take some of those pieces and put them in a different piece of luggage. But it is on my list for to acquire at some point. But it obviously is not the cheapest puzzle because it is so many pieces and comes with a free suitcase.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's yeah. A lot of people pick the large puzzles as their dream puzzles, and it's just space and
Yeah.
cost. That's the only thing stopping us, most of us, from doing those puzzles. But someday
Yeah.
we'll get those. But yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, Liam, for
Yeah.
joining me. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Likewise. Thank you for having me.
And yeah, can't wait to see what happens next with your puzzling. So yeah, again, thank you very much.
Me too.